The cost of erroneous thinking, how flawed beliefs shape society. Throughout history, flawed beliefs and erroneous thinking have led to devastating consequences. From misguided scientific theories to social prejudices, the consequences of these false assumptions ripple through time, shaping societal structures, political decisions, and even our understanding of the world. This exposition explores how erroneous calculations in various domains, whether in economics, geopolitics, or human behavior, can not only distort our perceptions, but also lead to real-world harm. Introduction. Erroneous thinking has been a constant in human history. The process by which people form beliefs, whether based on false assumptions, prejudices, or miscalculations, can have profound and far-reaching consequences. Whether it is the misguided belief in an overpopulated universe or economic theories that justify social inequality, these errors in reasoning have shaped civilizations, caused harm, and even altered the course of history. The cost of these flawed beliefs extends far beyond individual misjudgments. It has shaped political systems, social structures, and the way we understand the world around us. In this exposition, we examine several instances of erroneous thinking across various domains, from science to sociology to economics, and explore how these flawed ideas led to destructive consequences. By understanding the psychology behind erroneous thinking, the history of its impact, and the mechanisms that perpetuate these beliefs, we can better navigate the complex world of decision-making and prevent repeating past mistakes. The psychology behind erroneous thinking. Erroneous thinking is not just about ignorance or lack of information. It is deeply tied to the psychology of belief formation. People often hold on to false beliefs because these beliefs align with their desires, fears, or preconceived notions. Cognitive dissonance, a phenomenon where conflicting information creates psychological discomfort, leads individuals to reject evidence that contradicts their beliefs, reinforcing the erroneous thinking. For example, Thanos' belief in the need to balance the universe by wiping out half of its population could have been driven more by his desire to impress Mistress Death than by any genuine concern for overpopulation. In this case, his belief in the universe's overpopulation was not based on any scientific reasoning, but on a fabricated justification to fulfill his personal desires. This distortion of reality to fit an underlying motivation is a classic example of erroneous thinking, where the belief is shaped to justify an underlying desire. Additionally, motivated reasoning plays a significant role in sustaining false beliefs. This cognitive bias occurs when people selectively search for, interpret, and recall information that confirms their existing beliefs. This makes erroneous thinking self-perpetuating and difficult to correct, as it is constantly reinforced by new information that aligns with the initial belief. Historical examples of erroneous thinking. History provides numerous examples of erroneous thinking and the destructive consequences that followed. Thanos and the overpopulation myth. Thanos' belief in the need for universal population control is a classic example of how a deeply personal desire to win Mistress Death's favor led to a fabricated and harmful theory. Rather than responding to any real-world issue of overpopulation, Thanos used this justification to rationalize his genocidal actions, showing how the desire for power or validation can warp reality into a dangerous narrative. The witch's hammer, Malleus Maleficarum. In the Middle Ages, the erroneous belief in widespread witchcraft led to the persecution and execution of countless women. Driven by religious fervor and social prejudices, the Catholic Church issued the Malleus Maleficarum, a manual that justified the hunting and killing of alleged witches. This belief, founded on flimsy evidence and driven by fear, led to one of the darkest chapters in European history. The divine right of kings. This political doctrine, which asserted that monarchs derived their authority directly from God, was another example of erroneous thinking that caused widespread harm. By upholding the divine right of kings, rulers were able to justify absolute power and the oppression of their subjects, leading to centuries of political instability and social inequality. Social Darwinism. In the 19th and 20th centuries, the misapplication of Darwin's theories of evolution to human society led to social Darwinism, which justified racial inequality, imperialism, and eugenics. This flawed interpretation of evolutionary theory became deeply entrenched in societal norms, contributing to the justification of colonization and the persecution of marginalized groups. Scientific and medical erroneous thinking. Erroneous thinking is not confined to politics or social issues. It also extends to the scientific and medical fields. Throughout history, incorrect theories and misguided practices have had disastrous effects on public health and scientific progress. The geocentric theory. For centuries, the geocentric model of the universe, which placed Earth at the center, was upheld by religious authorities despite mounting evidence to the contrary. This erroneous belief delayed the advancement of astronomy and hindered scientific progress, as it prevented the acceptance of heliocentrism, which eventually revolutionized our understanding of the cosmos. Miasma theory of disease. In the 19th century, the miasma theory, which posited that diseases were caused by bad air, was widely accepted. This theory led to ineffective public health responses and delayed the discovery of germ theory, which ultimately transformed modern medicine. The persistence of the miasma theory, despite emerging evidence to the contrary, shows how erroneous beliefs can impede scientific advancement. COVID-19 measures. The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the complexities of decision-making in the face of rapidly evolving data. Some public health measures, such as widespread mask wearing and social distancing, were implemented based on incomplete or changing data, leading to economic shutdowns and social disruption. While these actions were made with the best of intentions, they also highlight the challenges of responding to a crisis when initial assumptions and calculations are based on limited or erroneous information. This content is brought to you by Bobby Giggs. Promote your brand here and reach a wide audience across platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Follow the links in the description to get started. The economic impact of erroneous thinking. Erroneous thinking in economics can lead to widespread financial crises, inequality, and policy failures. The laissez-faire myth. The belief in an entirely self-regulating market without government intervention is a classic example of erroneous economic thinking. This philosophy, championed by economists like Adam Smith, led to deregulation in the 20th century and contributed to financial crashes, such as the 2008 global financial crisis. The assumption that markets are inherently efficient and will correct themselves ignores the complexities and imbalances inherent in global economies. Social policies. Based on misunderstood economics, erroneous economic theories have led to policies that have deepened inequality. For instance, trickle-down economics, which assumes that benefits for the wealthy will eventually trickle down to the broader population, has been widely criticized for increasing wealth disparity rather than alleviating poverty. These economic miscalculations continue to shape public policy and exacerbate social tensions. The long-term effects of misguided economic decisions. Misguided economic thinking doesn't just harm economies in the short term. It can also have long-term consequences. The Great Depression, caused by a combination of poor policy decisions, stock market speculation, and a lack of government intervention, is a prime example. The consequences of this erroneous thinking shaped economic policy for decades and led to the establishment of institutions designed to prevent future financial crises. The consequences of flawed beliefs. Flawed beliefs, whether in politics, science, or economics, have consequences that reach far beyond the individual. These consequences can be felt in the form of social upheaval, political instability, and widespread harm. Political consequences. Erroneous beliefs can justify the consolidation of power in the hands of a few, leading to authoritarian regimes and political repression. The belief in the divine right of kings, for example, perpetuated absolute monarchies for centuries, leading to a lack of political freedoms and widespread inequality. Social consequences. Flawed beliefs can also shape social hierarchies, reinforcing prejudice and discrimination. The spread of social Darwinism, for instance, led to justifications for imperialism, racism, and the exploitation of colonized peoples. Cultural and scientific consequences. In the realm of science and culture, erroneous thinking can stifle progress and innovation. The persistence of the geocentric model delayed the development of modern astronomy, while the refusal to accept germ theory in the medical field prolonged suffering and death from preventable diseases. Conclusion. Erroneous thinking is not just a relic of the past, it continues to shape the world today. By examining historical examples, we can better understand how false beliefs are formed, how they are perpetuated, and what consequences they have. The need for critical thinking, grounded in evidence and open to revision, has never been more pressing. We must learn from the past to prevent future harm and ensure that our beliefs align with reality, not desire or prejudice. In a world of rapid change and increasing complexity, a commitment to truth and rational thought is our best safeguard against the dangers of erroneous thinking.